So I just got a message from a user named Metallovingsquirell. Hi! Um, I guess either today or a day ago, before I did this whole message about sending me messages. But they kind of they thanked me first for making my videos. Thank you, it means a lot to me. You have no idea. Thank you so much. And thank you for asking a question too. They wanted to know, what kind of books to look into. And he or she, I don't know if you're he or she, was also interested in Fae stuff, which I have some Fae stuff on this channel. Any other questions, just ask me. But really, the best way to really know the Fae is to just kind of sit out there with them and see what you feel. But this is basically about books that I would recommend to look into. Now, I feel like if I did a book recommendation video, I kind of feel like I'm beating a dead horse. Because if you look on any other pagan channel, they always have book recommendations, and it's usually pretty much the same stuff over and over again. So I'm going to kind of do something a little out of the ordinary. Instead, I'm going to kind of say how I find books and how I find some of my information. What you can do, what I do a lot, is obviously watch some of those videos from different users. I'm sure if you put pagan book recommendations in YouTube, you will find videos and videos and videos of recommendations. Anything, really. It also depends on what kind of path you're interested in paganism. I know you just said just regular paganism. You didn't really specify anything. So I guess one of my first recommendations would be Google paganism, Google pagan paths, and read up on them. See what kind of resonates with you. Do you like Egyptian mythology the best? Maybe look into like Cometicism, Egyptian reconstruction, something like that. If you're really interested in Celtic stuff, or if you feel really close to nature, you might want to look into Druidry. And if you feel like, you need something more, I guess, not necessarily strict. There are stricter Wiccans and there are eclectic Wiccans. Then look into Wicca. Obviously, Wicca is the biggest one, and Wicca is probably going to be the one that you're going to find the most material on, just because that's been the one that's been the most in the news in pop culture. Yeah. What I do is, a lot of the times, I look on Amazon. Just look up different pagan books that may have anything to do with any of the paths that you're interested in, and see what other people are saying about them in the reviews, especially ones that are rated highly. See what people have to say about the books, if they are well written, well researched, or if they should be taken with a grain of salt. There are some books out there that are awful. Just because they hit Barnes & Noble doesn't mean that they're all good. And that would be my next thing. Maybe make a list of books that you want to check out. Go to Barnes & Noble, go to your library, look in their metaphysical New Age section, and just pick up books. Look at them, read through them, see what you like and what resonates with you best. I guess my addition onto that would be take everything you read with a grain of salt. Some things are going to resonate with you, and some things aren't. There isn't going to be one book that's going to cover everything, and there aren't going to be 5 books that cover everything or are going to resonate the best with you. But you might want to try to look at a different array of books and see what might be the best. A lot of people recommend Scott Cunningham for Wicca, and he is really, really good. I don't have... My ex has my one book, but Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner is a little bit on the fluffier side. And I'm not saying that he's fluffy, guys. I'm just saying that he tends to be very much about lightness, and not so much about the darkness of Wicca and some of the other stuff that Wicca can be into. But and I'm not saying that Wicca's dark either, but he does tend to be a little more on the lighter side. But his books are great, especially his magical encyclopedias are wonderful, wonderful stuff that he has in there. So there's Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner. There's this one, Living Wicca, which I kind of almost feel is almost better in a way than the first book. I mean, obviously you should read both if you're going to read this one, but this one has stuff of like praying and purification and kind of living every day as being spiritual, as opposed to just kind of looking into it. And oh, here's a thing on the Wiccan mysteries, which is kind of where I got my one video that was early before. Should you do if you're sick? Thought and study and learning. So this is a really good book too. Also, if you want to put a little bit of practice in your life, this is the book that a lot of people are working on, Wicca A Year and a Day, which I still have to work on. And yes, even though I'm probably going to be practicing with a group, I might still actually work on this because I think it would be good to keep up everything and just get like a motor running. And this is definitely Wicca, but I think that this would probably also be good for just regular paganism too, because it does go into all the sabbats and gods and goddesses and kind of correspondences for different things. So this obviously is a Wicca book, but I would say at least just pick it up and look at it to see if the kind of things resonate with you. And also, obviously, because Wicca is pagan, and it has some general stuff from paganism, even though it's one specific path. Go on to maybe some sites for actual groups, like ADF Druidry. I'm sure they have a book list. Maybe if you look up Gardnerian or Alexandrian Wicca, you might find like a recommended book list. Or look up like a recommended book list for Wicca, for Druidry, for Reconstructionism. I'm sure you'll find a lot of stuff. What I also recommend is don't depend on books. See what you learn from your life experiences. That's pretty much what Scott Cunningham goes over when he talks about the mysteries. Which obviously, if you're in a coven, they will probably go over them with you during your practice. But what he says, basically, is go out in nature, live your life, and observe things. Because you never know what you're going to find just sitting out in nature and watching things. Watch some birds eating seeds. Watch some animals frolicking through the woods. Observe people and how they act. You might find that some things surprise you. Sometimes nature can be really surprising. Animals might do things that you never thought they could do. Definitely in my backyard, we have some really funny animals. And just sometimes surprising things that animals do that you didn't think they would do. And sometimes really scary things that animals do that you didn't think they would do. I quote Family Guy. Damn nature, you scary! But really, you will find a lot of things if you just kind of go out in nature and observe things. Go out in the rain and see how it makes you feel. Dare to get wet. See how that makes you feel. Maybe it'll wake you up inside. Maybe it'll energize you. Sit in the sun. Well, if you're not like me and burn to a frickin' crisp, if you're only in the sun for like 5 minutes. Go frolic in the snow and see how it makes you feel. Does it make you calm? Does it make you hyper? Just different things like that from everyday experiences. But books help, just don't depend on them. And I guess the last thing I'm gonna say is a lot of people really hate Silver Ravenwolf. I do not recommend her myself. But you can still look at her stuff. As I said, take it with a grain of salt. That's another thing. You should look up books that people do not recommend. Authors that are known to be conniving or doing things just for money or haven't done like any research at all, or are known to be, warlocks who are no goo. Um, but as I said, Silver Ravenwolf, a lot of people, I don't have any of her stuff. You can read her stuff. She does have some books. I don't personally recommend her. But you know what? Like everything else, you have to take things with a grain of salt. So, do what you want, but those are kind of my recommendations. Not many book recommendations, obviously. But I hope that kind of helps you. And, totally message me if you have anything else. Bye.